Hey guys, welcome to the Patreon exclusive Q&A. I'm here with my co-host Ash, laying in a box here. So you heard me right, this was a Patreon exclusive, which means that if you're watching this later, you're not on Patreon. Sometimes I get questions, what do I do for a living? It's this. I do videos for a living, I make money off of this, which is a great job, right? But I wouldn't be able to do it without Patreon, which is basically like a donation for services. Like Kickstarter. You get to pledge a certain amount, however much you want, to a creator, and in return you get exclusive goodies like this. All of the questions today were asked by awesome Patreon supporters. I want to thank everyone who asked questions, everyone who supports me, everyone who just wants to see my stuff. It still blows my mind. So if you're watching this later and you are not a Patreon supporter, you can find me at patreon.com/movie nights. Now let's get on with the questions. Got my handy dandy little chart here. You're gonna have to excuse me if I mispronounce your name. I'm gonna try my very best. Aislinn Curran says, "Awesome, love the show." Thanks, Aislinn. What are your favorite films, particularly enjoyably bad films, that have female leads? Whenever I'm asked a question about what my favorite blank is, or what the worst blank is, I just sort of forget everything that I ever saw or did in my life. So it always takes a little bit. But offhand, favorite So Bad It's Good movies that star female leads, Undefeatable with Cynthia Rothrock, which you might remember was the very first Obscurus Lupa Presents, and that is a great movie with a female lead. Most Cynthia Rothrock movies are, though not always. Sometimes she's paired up with someone else, but that one is a wonderful So Bad It's Good movie. One of the best So Bad It's Good movies ever, female lead or otherwise. That one's so great. I also like Desire with Kate Hodge, which was another Obscurus Lupa Presents. If you don't remember that one, that was it was an erotic thriller about a ex-cop who is trying to figure out who is killing people with perfume-themed murders. And there's sort of this red herring in this boyfriend that's super creepy and has this sense of smell that he can smell when a woman's not wearing any underwear, and they present this like it's romantic, and it's terribly creepy. That movie's a lot of fun to watch. There's another movie, also with Kate Hodge, that was an erotic thriller, but it doesn't star her. It stars Virginia Madsen of the Candyman series, and that was called Love Kills. And that one was a fun erotic thriller as well. It's another one of those where it comes off like it's made for TV, super cheap sounding. It was a direct-to-video. And that's another sort of whodunit. There's a great scene where she's being chased down a set of stairs, and it sort of looks like this weird video game thing where she's just going back and forth, and she's trying to get away from this guy, and it just looks ridiculous. Anyway, that movie made me laugh. I don't know if I'd call it one of my favorite ones. I don't know why I mentioned that. It's just something related. That's just a bonus honorable mention, I guess. But yeah, that's two that I can mention that I enjoyed. Petya LB asks, which of your fellow producers have you collaborated with, and which collaborations were your favorites? I have collaborated with so many producers. I don't know if I could list them all. All of the videos are up. But I can say some of my favorite crossovers are with Brad and Phelan. I also really enjoyed, technically it wasn't a crossover specifically where I starred in it, but I really enjoyed Airzone Solution that Phelan and Lewis did, and I got to do a lot of bit parts in that. That one has some great memories for me, and I think that probably still is one of my favorites just because of the memories attached to it. That was during Suburban Nights when we shot that. That was before I was dating Phelan, so this was one of the first times I really got to hang out with them, just chill out, and we weren't shooting that day. I think we had the whole day off, and they were showing me some funny internet videos, and we were laughing and enjoying, having a good time. And that was one of the times where they didn't have the script ready before they actually filmed it. They just decided they were going to do air zone solution. They were just going to write the script as they went. So they spent the whole day watching it and coming up with bits, and I think they scripted the voiceover stuff later. So I hung out with them because I had nothing to do, and we watched that, and it was a great time, and I was their camera person for that. And yeah, it was just a crazy day. You can see the sun is up during the beginning of the video and starts to go down by the end of it, because that's how long it was taking. I also enjoyed doing the Sherlock Holmes crossover with Brad, which was the first crossover we ever did, where you might remember he ended up punching me in the face. Poor Brad. That was my own mistake. I scripted that whole thing, and I scripted the punch in there, and we didn't rehearse doing it, and I got no experience doing like choreographed fake fighting or anything like that. We're just like, yeah, let's just punch in front of me and we'll do it. We'll just do it the first take. And it did not work out. But that was one of the highlights of my trip. Such a great story. It was great because it was on video, of course, so I had the raw footage of it. And I was hanging out in the airport with Noah because we were both going to Phoenix, so we were on the same plane. And we were waiting, and I showed him the footage of Brad accidentally hitting me. And you could hear just that sound when he hits me. It was so hilarious. We played it back like 20 different times in the airport laughing at this stupid footage of me getting hit in the face. Oh, so good. So anyway, those are some of my favorites. I'm sorry I didn't mention all the ones specifically, but there's been a lot of people that I've crossed over with. Austin Hager writes, could we explore Quantum Leap manic episode style? Why, I could offer to sing The Impossible Dream, or indeed offer to refrain from doing any such thing, in joy, if that came to pass. I would absolutely love to do a manic episodes on Quantum Leap. It's just a matter of... It's just a lot of time to dedicate to it, because if I was going to do it, I would want to do all of the episodes, because I just adore the show so much. And I'm already doing Baywatching, and I've already got movie nights and all these other things kind of going, and it's just sort of a big undertaking to take on along with everything that I have. But I do plan on doing something with it in the future. Of course. My Quantum Leap obsession sort of took over my life. You know, people who are just watching the videos and not following me on social media don't know about all of this stuff, but just obsessed with Quantum Leap. But yeah, to answer the question, I will in the future. I don't know when, because it's just a lot. But if I do, it will certainly be very thorough. Make all these questions really long-winded. Boring her. You know, it's the secret to keeping her in one place. Just stick her in a box. This is a board game box. But she'll stay in place if she can sleep in it. Oh, you're so funny. Norman Rafferty had this question. What's your opinion on the Cynthia Rothrock cameo in the Eek the Cat cartoon? It was funny. It was good. I mean, I think I just love that it exists. You know, because a lot of cartoons, especially kids' cartoons, the celebrity cameos are a bit more well-known than Cynthia Rothrock. She's really well-known to martial artists, and she was big on video in the 80s and 90s, but I don't know how widespread her name is. So I just love that it actually exists like that in a kid's cartoon. And I haven't seen a lot of Eek the Cat. I remember when it was on, I didn't see it on that much when I was a kid. I saw little bits of it, but not enough to really have fond memories of Eek the Cat. What little I've seen of it is funny though, so, but yeah, the Cynthia Rothrock one's great. This one's from Michael Reese. I enjoyed your mini-film Roller Samurai Vampire Slayers and the plot arc of the Howling reviews, so would you ever follow in the footsteps of your fellow reviewers and develop your own movie? I think regardless of whether it was obscure Sloop of the movie, Movie Nights the movie, or an entirely original concept, you have the comedic talent to pull it off. Thank you, that's very sweet of you to say. I don't know, I mean, I would love to do a movie, but I'm not really a great filmmaker, director, if that makes any sense. Like, I like performing, and I can handle review type things, but as far as like directing and putting together a movie, it's a little bit over my head, I think. I don't know. I would love to script something and maybe enlist some help from people who actually do know what they're doing. Sometime in the future it'd be nice. I don't know if I would do, well, scratch that. I do know. I don't think I would do a movie based off of Obscurus Lupa or Movie Nights. I don't think I would do one based off of that just because I don't know if there's really a character or a story there to put into a narrative, if that makes any sense. If I were to do a movie, it would probably be a horror comedy of some sort. That's the genre that I really love, so I think that would be something that I would like to do. Jonathan Chapman. The thing I like about your show is that you exude a true self-confidence about knowing what you like about admittedly cheesy movies/shows, and generally what you found in them to be likable. But it seems like the common case is of videos that sort of exist in a gray area, where they're interesting but not exactly likable. Can you speak a little about these movies/shows when you cover them and when you skip them? Yeah, every once in a while I do come across movies that are sort of, I can't really determine whether they're so bad it's good or just bad. And sometimes they're ones where they're more interesting to talk about than they are to actually watch. And that's really how I decide whether I'm going to review it or not. Is it interesting to talk about? Because there are some movies where it's like, I really didn't like this, but there was something to be said about it. There's something interesting about how it was made, or I really respect the filmmakers for putting themselves out there, because sometimes you just try really hard and it doesn't work. Sometimes it just turns out really badly for you and you come out with a bad movie, but it's still incredibly interesting how it came about. I think probably the number one example I got for a movie that is interesting to talk about but horrible to watch is The Hip Hop Witch, which I plan to talk about sometime, but it's not. Drag my feet about it a little bit, because that means I gotta rewatch it. I watched it once with Phelan. He fell asleep. The movie is just, it's not really a movie, but it's incredibly interesting to talk about, just not to watch because of how it was actually made. And there are some things like, I'm not remembering the name of the movie, but there was a movie not too long ago, the one that was the horror movie set in Disneyland, that they filmed illegally there. Something with Tomorrow? Someone in the comments will correct me about it, but anyway, you know what movie I'm talking about, where they filmed it illegally in Disneyland. I didn't actually really care for the movie that much. I mean, it just feels like it was a bit unfulfilled in the premise of it, and a little bit confused, but it's an incredibly interesting movie that it even happened. You know, the fact that they filmed it illegally and that they pieced this together with these urban legends about things in Disneyland, and some movies are just sort of fascinating in that way as an experiment. Sometimes I wouldn't necessarily call it good, but it was interesting to view and to learn about. The movie Unfriended, the Skype movie, I watched that, and while I wouldn't really want to see a series based on it, just as a one-time viewing, I was surprised by how watchable it was, which doesn't mean that it was a good movie, but the fact that it was just an experiment, and how do they actually put this together just as a Skype call. So I did actually appreciate it from that standpoint, from the gimmick, which works about once. But again, it's not really a great movie. So sometimes there's movies like that where I just want to talk about it just because of how it came about, and not necessarily because I think that it's a hilarious movie, but I usually let you know in the review what I think about it, as if it's actually really funny or just sort of interesting. And yeah, I guess that's how that comes about. Joe V1 has a few questions. What review are you most proud of? What's your favorite review with Phelan? When the bloody hell are you reviewing martial law? With Rothrock and Curating. I think I'm most proud of the Charmed reviews, which were just physically and mentally exhausting to do. When I was right smack dab in the middle of them, I was just not in a great place, and it was just a huge amount of work to do. But I'm so proud of how they turned out. And yeah, they're just so extensive. But I find that they were rewarding to do because of how the response was from people. Charmed fans, I expected them to be more offended about it, but they were actually super supportive. And they thought it was really funny. You know, sometimes when you enjoy something, you can still laugh at the flaws of it. And most of the time, when you enjoy something so much, you know the flaws better than anyone. So, yeah, they were laughing along with me. And I was just, I liked doing the analysis portion of it, but I liked doing the jokes along with it, and I felt it was just a great marriage of these things, and I feel like it's something that I'm proud to show people. So what was the other questions? What's my favorite review with Phelan? Phelan. My favorite review with him, it's hard, because there's a lot of ones I really liked. I did like Arizona Solution, but that wasn't really technically us two. Maybe Julie and Jack. I thought there was a lot of good bits in Julie and Jack. I also liked Food Fight that we did with Brad. That one was a lot of fun. Yeah, so probably those two. When am I reviewing Martial Law? I've never seen Martial Law. It's just, there's a lot of Cynthia Rothrock movies I need to get on. There's a handful of them that are just sitting around that I need to talk about too. So yeah, to answer your question, I have no idea. I've never seen it. I don't own it. I'm sure if I ever did see it, I'd probably do a review on it. But it's just not one that I have. Oh, a bonus question. Joe wasn't done. Bonus question. What's the weirdest question you got for this video? I don't know. I think there's one later about my cat. No, none of these other ones have been that weird. I did read them, but I forgot all of them immediately. Yeah. Danny Richard. Oh, Danny. Danny's been one of the higher Patreon supporters on there. He's been supporting me for a while, so thank you, Danny. Danny says, out of all the films that you've reviewed, are there any you feel like A, had real promise but squandered it, and or B, would benefit from a reboot? Yeah, there's movies that I've reviewed that I felt squandered their promise. A lot of the times that is where a movie sort of fails in not achieving what it really could do. I think the most recent one I can come up with is Samurai Cop 2. I feel like that there was so much it could have done with that it failed on. And if only it was just less confusing. If only there was just, they put less into it and focused more on the simple parts of it. So I think that one was probably a recent example of it. And I think I've been asked this question before about what would be a movie that I reviewed that I think would have would be a good movie to reboot. And I think the Witchcraft series, honestly. And I don't know if I'm repeating myself because I don't remember if I've said this in a video before, but the Witchcraft series, at least in the beginning of it, was fun. I mean, there's of course just the softcore porn stuff about it, where it's just a bunch of sex scenes going on, but I feel like there's potential for it, that you could make a fun rebooted movie about, or you could make a TV series about. If you followed the guy that was in 2, 3, and 4, he was my favorite William in the series, and it's been so long that I've forgotten his name. But that guy, he was really good. He was really charming, and I liked that guy. And I felt like, he had the potential to do some great stuff if he'd been given a good script. And I know that they've done 3 more Witchcraft movies since the 13th one, which have not been released yet. Which, believe me, I'll talk about whenever they're available. They shot them simultaneously, just as a forewarning. But anyway, I think if they did a reboot or reinvented it with the guy that was in 2, 3, and 4, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Just put some effort into it, just care a little bit more about your mythology. Maybe they can throw in some boobs if it's like an HBO series. Lauren Cates, hi Lauren, says, what is your editing rig like? I use Adobe Premiere to do the editing, and This is how tech savvy I am. I don't remember what version it is. One of the more recent ones, 5 or 6 maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I use Adobe Premiere, which is a more professional type setup. If you're just starting out in movie reviews, like if anyone's watching this and just wants to know like, hey, what do you use? What can I use to get started? Probably wouldn't start exactly with Premiere. If you're just trying to get started with a review series and just try it and see if you can do it, honestly, you could just try Windows Movie Maker just in the beginning. There was also, before this, I used Pinnacle, which is more of a consumer brand editing system for people who are not editors. It's more for like families who want to put together slideshows and home videos with some sort of simple effects and things like that. And that would work pretty easy for you if you're trying to get started, because it's simplified for exactly that reason. But Premiere gives you a lot more options, and the footage looks a lot better, of course. You can export larger quality HD footage and things like that. And that's my editing rig. I also use Audacity for the audio, to clean up the audio a bit. I use that for the podcast as well. Photoshop, which is actually a very old version, but still works, which I use for the title cards or gags that I do. Some of the animation type gags, I use a combination of Photoshop and Premiere. If I have a PNG and animate that through Premiere, very simplified things. And all this stuff are things that I learned on my own. I never took like a professional video making class well, in high school I took media for a semester, but that doesn't really count. You don't really learn anything in a high school media class. We filmed like one thing, and I don't even remember what editing system we were using, but I never really learned anything from that, and that was a little bit before I actually did the video things. But all of this stuff are things that I've just learned on my own. And these are things that you can learn on your own as well. So yeah, that's my editing rig. It's not much of a rig. It's Premiere. I sort of pasted these into this just comment by comment, so sometimes they're separated when it's just one person. So Lauren also says, not a question per se, but it's been just over a year since Movie Nights premiered. Could you talk a bit about what the transition has been like and the evolution of the new show? Get my Pepsi for this. So I talked a bit about this when I was just starting Movie Nights in a video that I don't think I've even put up anywhere anymore. It was up on Blip before that. Just down the toilet. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it's good for me to update about this now that it's been over a year since I did the revamp of the show. The reason that I started Movie Nights, which is Movie Nights, inspired by Baywatch Nights, which is one of the greatest spin-offs ever made. But yeah, the reason that I started doing this outside of Obscurus Lupa Presents is because I had just hit this wall and I had this burnout where I was just not happy with what I was doing. And you can tell in the videos when someone is not having a good time, when someone is just kind of churning it out to get it done, and it's exhausting to do and it's exhausting to watch, and I just felt like I needed to take this step forward. I felt like I was just stuck back in 2008 and I just wanted to jump into now, and I wanted to feel more like myself, which is part of the reason I just dropped the Obscurus Lupa part of it. Some people were wondering, they're like, well, did you just reinvent it because you left Channel Awesome? Did you do that because you lost the rights to your name? Someone thought I lost the rights to my name. No, they don't own the rights to anyone's names or anything like that. But no, this was just something I'd been planning for a while. It just sort of happened to be that I reinvented it right after I was off of the site. So it was just sort of coincidental timing that happened. But the real reason was just because I just wanted to change it and feel more comfortable with it and just have a bit more fun by reinventing it. I felt like becoming more myself and doing it more discussion style and just having fun talking about movies. I just wanted to make it feel like you were chilling, shooting the shit with some friends. And those are the kind of shows that I like watching. You know, there are other shows that are like that I enjoy watching just because people are shooting the shit. You know, you don't always have to put on an act for it. I just felt like that was something that I wanted to do to reinvent it and sort of take inspiration from the things that I really enjoy, like retro styled intro. That intro, by the way, was done by Skitch. Well, the music was done by Skitch. I edited all of the intro video portions of it, but the music theme was done by Michael Scicciano, who is wonderful. And basically what I told him was, I want something like Baywatch Night Season 2 intro and the Love and Curses intro, aka She-Wolf of London. And I showed him those things, and he came up with this great mix of both of them, and I wanted to just do sort of this, something you would see like late night in the 90s or late 80s. And I was just so excited to do that, and I just really enjoy the things that I'm doing now with movie nights. It's been really freeing, and I felt just like this weight off of my shoulders. And also, you know, on a personal note, I think it's made me more comfortable speaking off of the cuff, which sounds really bad coming from someone who's like, I'm going to invent this speaking off of the cuff here. Though, I mean, I do use notes for it. You know, I don't just go from memory. I did in some of them, and it's a little shaky. But I feel like I've become more comfortable speaking candidly and not just, you know, having to use a script in front of me when I'm on camera. And I felt that's helped me a bit on a personal level, especially like in the podcasts and things like that. And I hope that the confidence has shown through. So as for what the transition has been like, this is kind of long-winded, so I apologize if you guys are just, if I'm rambling on and on. But at first when I did it, there was a little bit of backlash about it, I guess. I mean, it wasn't huge, but there's some people it's not for them, and that's fine. You know, not everything's going to go over well with everyone, and I expected that. It was probably less than I expected anyway. Because anytime you're going to try and do something different, there's always going to be people who liked it better the old way. Which happens, you know, it's happened with me with things that I like. They changed it, and I just didn't care for what the change was. But I feel like over a year from now, the show has really come into its own. I feel like, you know, I got a good groove going with it and a nice pace for it. You know, I don't feel like I'm just churning things out. I feel like I've got a good variety of things going on. I enjoy filming them. I don't feel like it's so much of a chore anymore. I like my set a lot more than I used to. I feel like I've learned a little bit about presenting and then about taking care of myself in general. And I feel like the response has been really good. You know, I feel like I have gotten comments from people who have never heard of me before on YouTube, just discovering who I am and enjoying it. And I feel like I'm gathering a new audience, and it's opened up new venues that I didn't have before when I was stuck on Blip, you know, and when I was doing my old thing. I feel like it's opened up a new audience of people. And, you know, of course it helps being on YouTube now. But I think movie nights, I'd like to think movie nights has contributed to that. And, you know, I don't want people to misinterpret, to think that I'm just dragging on my old stuff, because if you enjoy that, that is perfectly fine. There are old videos of mine that I enjoy perfectly fine. I just feel like on a personal level, I have this weight off of my shoulders, and I feel like I am just more free as a person doing this. I guess that's all I gotta say about that. Tristina Peak has this to say. What is your number one nitpick when it comes to writing in movies/shows? What are your top 3 werewolf movies? Do you have any films you would consider a guilty pleasure, even by the standards of so bad it's good films? Number one nitpick. I don't know if these count as nitpicks. I guess I can just list like the things that I really hate in writing in TV shows and movies. Mostly TV shows, but they use it in movies sometimes too. But token sassy female. You know, the one where it's like she's like a tough chick and she comes in like doing a bunch of flips, and then she's just like, I can do it like the boys. But there's no actual real writing there. Like, they're just like, this is the strong female character. You know the one. I hate that. I hate it so much. It's so obnoxious. Like the Elizabeth Swann of Pirates of the Caribbean type character. I hated her character. It wasn't in the first one. It was afterwards. It was afterwards when they amped it up. Where I'm just like, I can't stand it. I can't. And yeah, they do that in a lot of shows, and I hate that. I hate the child with the chip on their shoulder. That's probably, even above the token, sassy, strong female character, the child with the chip on the shoulder is probably my number one hated trope used in anything. Where they have, like, main character has a kid, through some supernatural means the kid's grown up, and then the kid acts like all pissy and whiny and has superpowers. They're oftentimes the Messiah child or whatever, and then the show gives them this importance simply because they are the child of the main character, but they don't give them any traits to make them worth it or compelling or make you give a shit about them. And I absolutely hate that, and it kills so many good shows. Very rarely have I seen a show where they introduce a kid character and turn it around where I like them again like that. You know, when they introduce them later on, you know what I'm talking about. I also hate miscommunication as a narrative device. You know, like they're like, oh no, they misheard something, and then they're gonna go do something about it. Like they're like, oh, I think that they hate me, so I'm gonna go kill myself. Just talk to each other. Don't be lazy with your writing. Don't be lazy. I think that, yeah, I guess it boils down to don't be lazy. One of my top 3 werewolf movies? That's hard. Number 1's gotta be American Werewolf in London. That's the best werewolf movie ever made. Period. Picking a top 3, I love a lot of werewolf movies. I mean, I guess the kind of werewolf movie that I don't like is the pack ones. When they do it like there's like alpha males and macho and they're the packs and they're big muscle dudes. Like, I'd rather watch werewolf movies that are more about the tragic hero element of it, where it's more like, you know, a person sort of fighting the evil inside them. I don't really care for like they're literal wolves and they're gonna go out in the woods and sniff each other's asses or something. I don't know. Anyway, so I like American Werewolf in London, number 1. I really enjoy Silver Bullet. That was a fun werewolf movie with Corey Haim, Gary Busey, rocket-powered wheelchair. That's a really fun movie. A third one, gosh. The Howling's great. I really like The Howling. A lot of 80s werewolf movies. Really enjoy. So yeah, so if you want at least 3 good ones, 3 great ones, those 3 are good. Any films I'd consider a guilty pleasure, even by standards of so bad it's good films? I don't know. I guess if I had to say it was a guilty pleasure, it would be like, could I really stand by this as a so bad it's good film, or if it's just me? Like, it's like, I know it's not really funny bad, I just enjoy it for my own reasons. I don't know if I'd really call it a guilty pleasure. I'm pretty honest about sometimes I just have bad taste. It's always been that way, even before I did the reviews. I've just always had terrible taste in things. I don't know, the Scooby-Doo movie? I enjoy the Scooby-Doo movie, and I don't know why. Because it's terrible. But in a funny type way, I suppose. I also really enjoyed the live-action Inspector Gadget movie when I was a kid. I had a huge crush on Matthew Broderick, so I really loved that movie. Though I don't know when's the last time I rewatched it. Probably not since I was a kid, honestly, so I don't know how well it'd hold up. Yeah, or like the Grinch movie. The live-action Grinch movie. There's a lot of live-action adaptations, but yeah, I love the live-action Grinch movie. It still makes me laugh. But I don't know, is that considered a guilty pleasure? I think some people like that, unironically. I don't know if it's considered a guilty pleasure. By all means, it should not be good. It's like the Cat in the Hat movie is what you would expect it to be, but I don't know. What do you think? She's sighing. She's bored. But yeah, I guess those are my answers. Kyle Williams asks, do you have any movies or TV shows you genuinely love that aren't the kind of thing you'd normally review? I guess I'm asking if you have any favorites that aren't so bad it's good or quirky and offbeat. Yeah, I mean, there's shows that I enjoy that, like, I wouldn't do a review of just because, I mean, I don't really see a point in it. Immediately I forget, you know, like, offhand. I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's really funny. I loved Gallivant. Gallivant was a good show. I hope they renew it. For a while I was watching Rizzoli and Isles. But I don't know, it just got kind of lame, didn't it? Like, it kind of didn't follow through with a lot of stuff, and it got a little bit lame. But it was a fun, kind of quirky show. You know, a lot of these ones that I would never review are usually like, if it is just a straight comedy show. Not like a quirky, offbeat comedy show, like just, you know, like it's just funny and there's no... I don't know. It's difficult to review a really good comedy. Because there's only so many times you can say, like, this is really funny. And it's hard to say, this is really funny and here's why. It's really hard to analyze it. That's the same reason why reviewing a so bad it's good comedy is really difficult. Because, you know, this is why it's not funny is just sort of hard because funny is relative, you know? Like, funny is just sort of what you find funny or not. And it's different than, like, say, something overly dramatic because that sort of, everyone agrees upon certain dramatic elements. And with comedy, it's just sort of depends on who it is. We're going a little bit off track here. Other ones, a lot of the ones that I watch a lot of reality TV, game show types, or not game show, competition type shows. Like, I love Face Off. Face Off is a great show. Project Runway, RuPaul's Drag Race, Cutthroat Kitchen, a lot of Food Network type shows. I love those type of things, but it would just be sort of pointless to review unless, I don't know, I guess if you were talking about like a top stupid moments, but I mean, a lot of them aren't really, you know, stupid. America's Next Top Model is stupid. That's one that I considered maybe doing like a, you know, a list video about because that show is great. I love America's Next Top Model. I don't watch a lot of like super popular shows that are like that everyone's watching, if that makes sense. Like, I don't watch like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead or House of Cards. I don't know what people are watching. I'm terribly bad at keeping up with really good current shows. A lot of the times it's just sort of things that I marathon later, season by season. So, yeah. Joe Toledo, he asks, Schwarzenegger or Stallone? I don't know. That's tough. I've probably seen more Schwarzenegger movies. Stallone's good too. I don't know, I guess I gotta lean towards Schwarzenegger. Though, I mean, you know, Schwarzenegger never sang about Frankenstein with Dolly Parton. So there's that. Douglas Fox asks me, any movie that you want to review but cannot find or is way too expensive? There's one that I have no idea if it would be any good. I just love the title. It's called The Curse of Count Chocula. It's a live action, The Curse of Count Chocula. And I don't know, maybe it'll just be an exploitation movie that I don't really care about. But I just love the name of it, and I would like to review it. But I've never been able to find it, so... Yeah. There's a couple shows, but this just stems into my Quantum Leap obsession. This is just personal. This has nothing to do with reviews. This is just a personal want. I would love to see... There was a Tony Danza show that they made before that talk show. It was just called The Tony Danza Show, but it was a sitcom, and it only aired like 6 episodes. And it had him, and it had Dean Stockwell in it. And I just want to see Dean Stockwell in a terrible sitcom. It has nothing to do with Tony Danza. I don't care, but it just seems delightful to me. I need to know. And that one I haven't been able to find because, it's got the same name as the more popular talk show, so it's really hard. I found one clip from it, but it's not feature Dean Stockwell in it, so boo. There was also a show called Gung Ho that Scott Bakula did. That was an adaptation of the Michael Keaton movie about the Japanese owners of a car place where they make the cars. They come to America and culture shock. Americans and Japanese people, how will they get along? And it has Clint Howard in it. Clint Howard. And it's, it was an 80s sitcom that lasted about 8 episodes. And it just looks terrible. And I can't speak for the movie. I've not seen the movie, but the show seems very racist. Very 80s racist. 80s casual racist. And I don't know. I'm just deadly curious about this. It just looks so awful. I just want to know. So yeah, there's the answer to your question, man. Terry Fanatics says, when it comes to TV reviews, you seem so damn committed. You go season by season or episode by episode, and it's both impressive and ambitious, always enjoyable, even if I don't like the show in question. Since it takes a lot of effort, X-Files, Supernatural, Charmed, etc., what's a show that you really want to do this with, but just for whatever reason can't commit to it for a podcast or standard review? Or is there one you really hate and want to do this with, but for whatever reason can't commit to doing it? I guess this ties into the question that I answered before in that Quantum Leap. I would really love to do episode by episode, but again, it's just a commitment. So yeah, I mean, I when I was doing the Charmed reviews, I thought I would do these season reviews just continuously until I hit this wall and I just couldn't get past it because it was just cutting into everything in my life, and I was just in a really bad place. So it was not helping, and I just couldn't commit to doing these season-long things anymore. And that doesn't mean maybe in the future I'll do more overviews of shorter shows, like I used to do with Manic Episodes, where it was just a shorter overview of shows, and those were still difficult to do, but not as expansive as Charmed. I also enjoy just doing the episodic reviews nowadays, anyway. I think those are fun to just highlight, really bad episode. Unless the show is just staggeringly awful overall. But even then, it would be just a huge commitment. So I guess to answer the question, everything that I would want to review like that is too much of a commitment to do that much anymore. And who knows, maybe years in the future I'll be revitalized and I'll be able to just shoot out all this work. But for now, no. I can tell you this though, things like the Quantum Leap one, I would still like to do once time frees up, but I've got all the Baywatching videos going on. I've got the movie nights, and I've got sporadic Manic Episodes, and just sort of podcasts and things like that. I don't feel like I need to commit to another entire show right now. I think it would just take too much time out of the content that people are watching right now. So, in the future. Oh, that was scary. There's so many good questions. How many pages I got left of this? Angel Young, at Baywatching Questions. At Baywatching Questions. Are you going to review Baywatch Nights and size Baywatch Hawaii Season 2? I remember watching Baywatch Hawaii Season 2 during a pre-Baywatching viewing, and it was a chore. Also, are you going to do the reunion movie? Eddie is in it! I saw the opening credits, he's surrounded by ladies, and it is so funny! Yes, to all the questions, yes. I'm going to review all of the Baywatch stuff, including this Pacific Blue crossover that they randomly did that I didn't even know about until a couple days ago. Yes, I'm going to do all of them. I'm going to do Baywatch Nights concurrently with the seasons of Baywatch that it aired alongside, because there is some bleed over into both shows that it's nice to kind of keep it in the time frame that it was airing in. So basically, it's just going to go by air date. It's just going to be whatever airs first and just go back and forth from Baywatch to Baywatch Nights. And Baywatch Nights did not happen until season 6 of Baywatch, so we have a little bit to go, and I get asked this a lot. But yes, I will review Baywatch Nights, and I will talk about the reunion movie. And I will talk about the Baywatch movie they're doing with The Rock. And yes, I know about it. In case you're wondering, I know about it. Ever since this was in just announce stage and pre-production stage, and they're writing a script stage, people have told me about the Baywatch movie. And in case you're wondering what my opinion of it is, I don't know. It's not out yet. I guess I can say I hope that it will be funny. I hope that, I'm going to come in optimistic about it. I really like the Starsky and Hutch remake they did, even though it was probably not a very good movie, but I laughed at it anyway. So, I might still laugh at it. Some of the things that I've heard about the jokes seem a little worrying to me. I feel like maybe they'll focus a bit too much on sex jokes, and part of what makes Baywatch funny, honestly, is the juxtaposition of the exploitative visual element and the family-friendly image that they try to portray. And I don't know if it's really going to hit that balance, but like I said, it's not out yet. I don't know. There's no video of it. There's just some pictures and just some little blurbs about it. So I don't know. I hope it'll be really good. But I will talk about that as well. I'll probably talk about it once it comes out in theaters even, and do a regular video on it whenever it's released. But yeah, I guess the answer is if it's Baywatch related and it's a movie or a show or whatever, I will review it. And by the way, thank you for the Baywatching question. Brandon White says, how many videos do you record in bulk when you and Phelan get together? Same question for when you guys have made videos with Brad. Because Phelan is in Canada and I'm in the United States, we just film videos whenever he is visiting, usually around a month at a time. So in case you guys are wondering why there was just slew of Phelan co-hosted videos and then it goes back to me, that's why. And it's been a little bit broken up this time. Oh, excuse me. It's been a little bit broken up this time because I had holiday videos that I had to get to and other things that were a little more time sensitive, so I went to do those, but now I'm just trying to get these out before they get any older, because my hair is terribly inconsistent, and that's how you tell when a video is filmed, is what is my hair like, and I could not make it consistent if I tried. Which is part of the reason that I updated the movie nights intro, because I've not had the red hair for quite a while now. So yeah, to answer your question, it just depends on what we feel like filming. I think it's probably been around 8 each time. There's no set schedule of how many to film at a time, but it usually is a little bit easier to film in bulk when I have someone to bounce off of. As for how many we film with Brad, just one at a time. I mean, not I guess we're talking about in a single day, one at a time. But, we don't get to film with Brad as much because he can't travel as easily over here to my town from Springfield. And, I filmed over at his place a little bit, but, we don't live next door to each other or something, so it's a little bit more difficult to film those things, but it's usually been like 1 or 2. There's one more I have not put out yet that we filmed together, just me and Brad, and that'll be coming out soon. I gotta apologize in advance. I fucked up the the focus of it, so that's part of the reason it hasn't been released yet. It's not the greatest looking video, but I feel like there's some interesting content in it, so that'll be released soon. John Giffaniello? GIF or GIF? The debate goes on. Besides bad Quantum Leap novels, what other hobbies and or interest do you have? Is there really any interest I need besides bad Quantum Leap novels? I mean, I spend so much time on the computer and watching movies and shows and editing them together. I mean, that's part of the reason that I love doing what I do, is just because, I just love watching and talking about this kind of stuff. Which probably means I have kind of a boring life. I don't know. Some of the hobbies and things I'm interested in that are not video related. I really like writing fan fiction, so you can put me in the big fat nerd category. I just love writing it and reading it, and I've done that since I was 11. And sometimes I publish them, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes they're just for personal reasons. A lot of the time, I've used fan fiction as sort of a way to continue things that shows that I miss. You know, like I feel like I didn't really like the ending of it, or I'm not really decidedly not done with my obsession over it, so I like to sort of continue it and things I would have liked to seen with it. And it's just sort of a nice exercise to be able to write these things. So that's something that I enjoy doing. And I also enjoy collecting retro clothing, which is a little bit difficult, and I don't know if I'm really the best at it. I just I'm a little bit fascinated with it, and I found some neat local places that have some really cool retro type clothes, and I just love fashion in general. You know, I like quirky, kitschy things, as you can see by my outfit here. So yeah, that's something that I have fun with. And I like to do, you know, on nice summer days, just go and get some cool outfits, chill out, procrastinate. Fun times. Procrastination, by the way, something else I'm very good at. Ice cream assassin. Watch out. Whoa. What other kinds of projects are you thinking of for the future? Any thoughts of expanding beyond video? Rothrock for life! I thought about doing like a book about like werewolf movies once, but I don't know, I never really followed through with it. Sorry if the video jumps a little bit, I had to change the battery, so... Anyway, yeah, what other projects am I thinking about for the future? I would like to do a riff. Just an old public domain movie riff, that would be a lot of fun. Just something to sort of do a different kind of projects, I guess. On a personal level, I would like to do more acting type things. I don't have anything set up, but I would love to do more movies, things like that. That's something that I would be interested in. But just a thought, putting out in the ether. Anyone got an acting job? Let me know. I might have some interviews set up with some people. That's a new territory for me, interviews. That sort of ties into the getting more comfortable with speaking off the cuff thing, because before that would have been just inconceivable for me. I'm just terrible at coming up with the words and speaking with people and just scared of interactions. So this is something I feel I have improved upon. So that's another project that might be coming up in the near foreseeable future. We'll see. Don't ask, but you'll ask anyway. What movies do you hate / make you angry? Are there any movies out there that you know you should love but just plain old don't like them? What are some weird names / things you call or say or sing to your pets? First of all, I never say anything weird to my pet. Sweeto. Treaties for sweeties. Oh, sweet little kitty. I love you. Okay, so getting back to the movie questions. What movies do you hate or make you angry? My number one hated movie is Jerry. It just bores her thinking about it. Jerry was the one with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's brother, where they're in the desert, and it's just them walking around the desert for an hour and a half. It's like watching paint dry, but more miserable. Just awful. This was something that I did not pick out myself, by the way. This was something that my parents rented, and somehow I watched with them, and it was just... My dad gave up partway through, just went off to do something else, but somehow me and my mom watched it. Even then, I think we fast-forwarded through some parts of it. There's one part where it's just a 7-minute shot of them walking away from the camera. That's it. There's barely any dialogue. It's just, I don't know, I guess from an artistic point of view, I could see what he's going for, but it is just, I just hate it. I hate the movie. And there's also a movie called, I don't think it was Terror Tunes, maybe Killer Tunes. I don't know. It's a live action movie about tunes coming to life, and it was just absolutely miserable. I hated it so much. Just a bullshit movie. Just annoying and unpleasant and ugh. But anyway, any movies you know you should love but you plain old don't like them? Yeah, that happens every once in a while, and I'm always bummed when it's a movie like it just feels like it should be my bag, and it just doesn't connect. It just zigzags in a different direction. There's a couple examples which I've talked about in videos before. They Live and Teen Wolf. And They Live, I don't know, it's one like it's got Roddy Piper, and it's got all these cool themes that I feel like I should like, but the vibe never sat well with me. I could never really quite get into it. Maybe it's because it's the commentary in it just didn't jive with me. I have no idea, but it just never really connected. And I've watched it twice now, and it still didn't hold up. I thought, there have been ones that I've watched that didn't hold up then, but hold up now. Like, I can understand it more now. Like, Heathers is one of those movies. I didn't like it when I first watched it, but I thought it was great when I watched it now with a current perspective. But it didn't happen that way with They Live. Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf is one that you would think that I would love. It's got werewolves, it's an 80s movie, it's got Michael J. Fox, it's quirky horror type comedy, and I don't know, it just, something about it just sat with me like a little bit unpleasant. Somehow the movie made Michael J. Fox unlikable, which I didn't think you'd be able to do, but that one did it, and there's something a little skeevy about it. So, I don't know, I enjoyed the sequel more, even though it's ostensibly the same movie, but it's sort of like the same movie just done really, really hilariously poorly, and that's why I enjoyed it more, even though it's not a good movie either, but I can enjoy it for being bad. Whereas the first one, I don't know, it's just sort of not quite there. Misty, thinking outside the box here. Random non-movie / non-show questions, since you have plenty of those. What's your favorite season and why? Sock, shoe, or sock, shoe? Favorite pizza topping? Favorite ice cream? Random trivia thing we don't know about you already. These are a lot of tough questions here. Hope you're ready for some tough answers. Favorite season and why? Probably summer. I think summer's probably when I'm happiest. I kind of feel like I'm alive again. I get out there and get outside a little bit. I tend to hole up in the winter, and I'm from Arizona originally, so I was used to the desert. And then I moved away, and there were seasons, and it was very cold. I moved during a polar vortex. What a shitty first winter that was. I was in a non-insulated apartment. It was miserable. But yeah, I love the summer. That's when I get out and do things. Feel like I hang out with people and kind of live life a little more, a little less hold up in places. So yeah. Sock, shoe, sock, shoe. It took me a while to realize what you were even asking there. It took me a second. No, I do the socks first and then the shoes. And I don't do just one foot at a time. Yeah, gotta keep it consistent here. Favorite pizza topping? Probably bacon and banana peppers? Is that weird? I don't know if it's weird. I like it though. Yeah, I love banana peppers. So yeah, bacon and banana peppers. But the real bacon, not Canadian bacon, real bacon. Favorite ice cream? Probably cookie dough. Love cookie dough ice cream. So good! I got nothing to elaborate on that. Cookie dough ice cream is delicious. Random trivia thing? I don't know. I'm just like an oversharer, I think. I don't know if there's any random trivia that you would know about me. What grade was it? 6th grade? Sometime in middle school, I won, maybe it was 8th grade. I don't know, middle school. I won the spelling bee. I won a spelling bee in middle school. And I went to the state spelling bee, but I lost on lackadaisical. I still remember the word lackadaisical, so now I know how to spell lackadaisical. That was the word I lost on. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Alex Carawan. Carawan is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Do you actually plan on doing every single episode of Baywatch? Because please. I don't know, is that a sarcastic because please? Or like it because please? But to answer your question, yes, I do really intend to do all of them. But I'm spreading it out, you know. It's one of those things I don't want to just like, you know, shove it all out at once. Giant bowel movement of Baywatch flooding your computer screens. But yeah, I do plan on doing all of them. Right now I'm near the end of season 3. So we're slowly but surely chugging along. Tommy J and Diaz Millen, and I don't know, maybe this was some mess up on the, I don't know. Tommy J period Diaz Millen, I don't know. Maybe I copied this wrong. Sorry, Tommy. What inspired you to make this series? And what is your favorite movie, cartoon, and show to watch? Who is your favorite singer? If we're talking about like just videos in general, what inspired me to make them? It was watching the first Brawl video, the anniversary they did on That Guy with the Glasses. I thought that it was a really fun video and seemed like a fun community to be part of. And I've always really enjoyed watching movies and TV shows, and I enjoyed acting, and I thought this was a way to kind of bring things together and talk about it and just see if I could do it. And that's why I started doing them. As for movie nights, you know, I talked a lot about why I decided to transition from Obscure Sleeper Presents to movie nights, but a lot of the inspiration came from late night 80s, 90s retro saxophone-tastic type stuff. Of course, you probably see the influence of what Red Letter Media does. I really enjoy their movie reviews, so I thought I could do my own spin and my own take on discussing movies. And I enjoy just listening to what people have to say, and I thought, you know, it'd be nice to do something off the cuff, but still edited and pieced together professionally. So a lot of the inspiration from the name came from Baywatch Nights. You know, I wanted to do something that was a little bit of a word play, I suppose. So movie nights is what it became. So yeah. What is my favorite movie, cartoon, show to watch? I never talk about Quantum Leap. Never. But I love Quantum Leap. No lie, I probably watch it every day. I probably watch an episode every day, yeah. I've watched it so many times. I have like 3 different copies of the first season, and like 4 of the 4th season. Now the police are coming. But yeah, I've got the show on Blu-ray, at least the first season that's come out so far. I've got the UK DVDs because they don't have the music replacements, except for season 4, which still has the music replacements. I've got a demo tape of the pilot. Yeah, I super love Quantum Leap. Before that, it was She-Wolf of London, of course. I think Quantum Leap, Quantum Leap has taken over. It's kicked She-Wolf of London off of my top favorite show list. But She-Wolf of London is my second favorite show still. I love She-Wolf of London. You know, if you guys are sick of hearing me talk about Quantum Leap, She-Wolf of London is a great show. Great, undervalued show. Doesn't get a lot of exposure. It was only 1 season, and it was made by Universal for their this channel that they were trying to do, and it didn't quite work out, and a lot of things got mixed up, and it got reinvented into a terrible show. But yeah, I really enjoy it. It started out as an adaptation of American Werewolf in London for TV. They were like, let's make a TV show out of this. But they realized Universal was like, oh no, we don't actually have the rights to this. That's Polygram. So they had to kind of tweak it and reinvent it, and it became about a female werewolf, an American student in London, and her relationship with this professor that she has of this mythology class she's taking, and they sort of fight other monsters in between, and it's just sort of this great quirky show, and I love their relationship, and it's really fun. So yeah, 2 of my favorites. What was the other question? You had another question. Who's my favorite singer? I don't know. I follow so many different types of music and songs, and I don't know if I have favorite singer per se, because I just love a lot of music. My favorite song is Road to Nowhere by Talking Heads. I love that song. I have a lot of Keen CDs, Muse CDs. Just thinking of artists that I have more than one CD for, because a lot of the time I'm just sort of eclectic with all of it. But yeah, to answer your question, no one, I guess. Lady Caps Lock. If you could wipe Subspecies 4 out of existence and write your own ending for the series, what would it be? What would be the ending? Radu would realize he doesn't need Michelle. He's got to be his confident own hagman, right? Like, he doesn't need love to know. He doesn't need someone to know that he's cool. And he goes with the little finger demons and goes to the beach at night and then chills out with them in sunglasses. Like, he goes on a vacation. Like, he just, like, you know, he realizes he's his own man. Maybe he kills Michelle. I don't know. Maybe Radu gets, like, a wacky roommate, leads into a sitcom. Yeah, that'd be cool. His old vampire buddies from vampire journals are bugging the shit out of him all the time. His mom's always coming to visit. Be like, everybody loves Raymond, but funny. Yeah. Good question. All right, last question. For real. Galito? Gelato? Is there anything you were close to reviewing but ultimately didn't? Like, for example, didn't seem to have as much to talk about as you originally thought, or someone else just posted a video about it? There's some movies that I've thought about, but generally, after I watch it the first time, I decide if it's worth it or not, if it was worth actually talking about. Yeah, there's been a lot of movies that are like that. There was some movie called, like, Musketeers Forever that I think Film Brain gave to me, so sorry, Matthew. But the movie just was not very interesting. I don't think we even finished it, because it's just sort of boring middle-aged guys open up a bar and Michael Dudikoff's there for some reason. Like, oh, it's an action movie, but then I'm just gonna do a lot of old guy humor. Like, it wasn't very funny or interesting or action-packed or nothing. Just boring. I don't know, one of the more recent examples I can think of for that, I guess. There's a lot of movies that I've decided to review years ago that I've just had sitting around because I'm just never got around to it. But there's a lot of movies that are like that. I can possibly list them all. If it's a movie that's just boring or not very interesting and doesn't have much of a story to talk about, that's the deciding factor of whether I'm going to review it or not. I guess it's treading a little bit of ground of what I've talked about in other questions, but yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, that's it for this time. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you for supporting me, even just by watching my videos. I am very, very glad of the support. Thank you for allowing me to do what I do and have one of the best jobs in the world. It is just so great. I am very grateful for all of you wonderful people. I've gotten such wonderful messages and gestures from people, and it just blows my mind just how wonderful all of you are. So thank you. And yeah, if you're seeing this on YouTube later, consider supporting me on Patreon. I would really, really love it. But if not, thanks for watching anyway. You're still standout people. So I'll see you guys next time, right? Is that cool? I'll get it next time.